Hi guys, how you doing? Long time no see. I just felt a really good shift this week, really good shift in energy. Everyone I know is kind of going through a let's get out and fight mood. Let's go out and bring more light, more enlightenment to people. And it's really good buzz energy basically around a lot of the healers. So I am starting to go back to my healing work. Normally I take a little bit of a gap to work on myself for a little bit, and I come back and I like to teach people what I learned. So I'm going to be setting up a psychic development class, meditation class, and obviously I'm going to be doing more Reiki and healing and things like that. So I've a lot of experience in healing. Over the last 11 years of my life, I have done Reiki, Seikhem, crystal healing, angel healing, spiritual healing, shamanic healing, tantric healing, and I've just finished my second course in Arkashic healing, which is a lot to do with the divine plane, your soul contracts, soul family healing, and I just wanted to talk about it for a little bit because I really wanted to share with people what I have experienced on this. So obviously I started out about 11 years ago with very bad depression and anxiety. I had repetitive going to bad relationships, jobs didn't seem to work out, I wasn't getting on with my family. There was a lot of things not going right in my life, and I decided to start working on myself and going, okay, why do I keep attracting this sort of life to myself? So the minute I started healing, things started changing for me. So at first I was so shy that if I crossed the road and I saw somebody who I knew coming, I would be so shy, I would not be able to make eye contact. I would nearly want to jump in a bush rather than have to say hello just to someone I knew on the street. And that's how nervous I was talking to people, making eye contact. Over the years, I worked on myself. I worked on NLP. I worked on cognitive behavioral therapy. I worked on my image of myself and how I looked at myself, how I talked to myself, how I talked about myself to other people. And then I went on to teaching classrooms full of people. Like I think the biggest classroom I taught was 100 people. I have a YouTube channel now where millions of people have seen my videos talking about spirituality and enlightenment. So things have changed for me a lot to do with my confidence, my happiness with myself. I'm no longer debasing myself, and I had a severe eating problem as well. I was severely overweight, I was obese, and over the last few years I've really found it easier to maintain my weight because I'm not emotionally eating, but also my emotional connection with food is no longer a destructive one because I've looked on my past lives, I've worked on the things that have made me rely on food as a form of comfort when really it wasn't a form of comfort. It was making me feel very unhappy about myself. So there's a lot of areas in my life that have changed. And the Akashic healing started changing things in a new way. And I always think that like Reiki is fantastic. I always thought Reiki was a bit of a, and I've heard a few other healers call it the gateway drug to healing because it's like the first step. And then after a while you're like, Reiki isn't cutting it, I need something stronger. And then I went to Seikhem. And then I went to spiritual healing and channeled healing, and it was like every time I try something new, this is the latest thing I've tried. So my introduction to the Arkashic was by a great friend of mine, Manjula, and she has been around in my life for a long time now, actually. She did her Reiki level 1 and 2 with me. So we started our journey together, and I taught her how to do angel card readings because I was already doing that at the time that I went into Reiki. And now Manjula has been published on Hay House and has her own deck of children's angel cards on Hay House. So be sure to check her out. She's Experience Healing on Facebook, but she's such a master. But I've always felt a great connection with Manjula because I asked her to teach me my mastery for Reiki. And ever since then, we've always kind of touched base and come back to each other at random moments in our lives to help teach each other something new. So again, I went and I learned this workshop with Manjula online and through video conferencing, and some of the stuff that I came across was just so deep and in depth about my life, especially the soul family healing. You can notice in your physical life when things start changing, because you know they've been released because things start physically changing. That's when I really have faith, because I'm one of those people where I'm very logical. I need to see something and I need to go, okay, that's happened physically, I can see it now, I believe. And I've always been like that. I was brought up in a family of engineers and scientists, so I have to see something to believe it, or I have to have proof or scientific proof or something, as well as my spiritual side. But so the things that I noticed when I did the Arkashic healing, first of all, I had recently become very ill, lost my job, had a lot of traumatic things happen to me. I'd been out of a very unhappy relationship for a while, and it was like I woke up one morning and I remembered who I was. Consciously, it was like getting back in touch with myself. My relationships with my family, without going through the nitty-gritty details, every single member of my family, my close-knit family, my nuclear family, my mum, my dad, my sister, my 2 brothers, my nephews, every single relationship became more intense, more compassionate, more communicative. And it's like a lot of the stuff that we had dealt with that seemed to be repetitive, that we're repeating over and over again, they just disappeared. It's like they decided to lift and leave. And this is something that I've always wanted to work on, especially on the female line. Going from my mother to my grandmother to my great-grandmother, there was a very destructive mother-daughter thing that was going on. And I was like, I've gone to shamanic people, I've gone to healers and everything to tackle this, to understand why is there such a destructive code on the female line of my maternal side of my family. So I actually went in and I saw a lot of patterns that were repeating in the Arkasha, from my mother to my grandmother to my great-grandmother. And the funny thing is I think it actually started off with my great-grandmother. And once I actually started healing that energy, it's like it lifted off me and my mum. And all of a sudden, our relationship is so much better. Even her relationship with her other children as well. Because again, when you're healing yourself, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing other people. So that was one of the most profound changes. My relationship with my dad has always been a bit, I don't know, we're very different people. It's never been bad, but it's like he opened up to me emotionally. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm looking at a different person and going, wow, this is not just healing me. This is profoundly healing everyone around me. And then somebody came into my life, a man, and he outdid any perceptions of men that I've had so far in this lifetime. Like, I have never dated someone with this much compassion before. And it's been very upheaving and healing, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of stuff, me realizing how much I doubted myself and why I was going for a certain type of person. And it's fantastic. The changes are incredible. As well as that, with my holistic business, I have always been the kind of person that I love healing people. I love healing other people. But I have such huge blocks to telling people, to communicating, to getting myself out there, to letting people know. I've worked for years to help other people. I want to do this because there's part of me that doesn't feel like, you know, I'm good enough, or that, you know, maybe the person deserves something, so a better healer or something like that. This is the first time in my life where I've actually been like, right, this is it. I'm no longer going back to any other career. This is who I am. And I had a lot of past lives to do with working as a holistic healer in past lives. And as you know, back in ancient times, people like me who worked with essential oils and herbs and healing, we were labeled as, well, witches or something more negative. So we don't necessarily have good past lives. And I went into the Arkashic and I cleared a lot of my past life stuff, and all of a sudden this is like open. I see this path really, really clear right now. I don't feel the doubts that I had before, where I was terrified of repercussions. Like, say for instance, if somebody stepped off a plinth wrong, that they would sue me, or I would be the worst person in the world if I get the wrong advice to somebody spiritually. When I've never really had a complaint. I mean, there's the odd one or two where, you know, I've had arguments with people, but other than that, like, I mean, that's 11 years of work with only 2 complaints. I think that's fairly good. So again, this, it's like it all cleared for me, and I'm looking forward and going, right, okay, my, you know, me as a healer is coming out there, and I'm now introducing it to the world. I am Marielle, and I have devoted a very large chunk of my life to healing, and I look forward to sharing it with you. And normally when I do a new healing course, I never communicate it with anybody. I never explain it to anybody or put a video on YouTube and say, this is, you know, this is how in depth this has healed me. And it's very personal again, but I cannot hold back how powerful this healing has been for me. And I really wanted to share it with people and say that, you know, even if you don't come to me, which I really hope you do, I'm starting my practitionership as an Arkashic healer, working on soul contracts, past lives, soul family connections, past lives, DNA, anything like that. And if you want to come to me, great. But this is something that will change your life. And I'm just so, like, I'm so excited to be able to help other people the way this has helped me. And I really, really hope, if any of you have any questions about it, you can always message me on Facebook or message me on YouTube. And that is it. This is my experience with the Arkashic healing. I'm sure there's more that I didn't get into, but it was just such a vast healing. Like, my first Reiki workshop did a lot of things, but this is groundbreaking. I cannot explain it. But again, if you have any questions about this, please message me, and hopefully I'll be video messaging a lot more often now. Namaste, have a good day, and remember, things are changing.